Hello, we're on week 5 of the second season of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is Barney on the Rebound. Barney, what's going on this week?
Well, I was talking to Thelma Lou and thought of the courthouse. But then I see something and I say to her, "Excuse me, Thelma Lou, it looks like I gotta take care of the little parking violation." So I go up to the lady in her car and I say, "Excuse me, ma'am, but this is restricted parking." And it turns out it was just a lady looking through the post office. So I give her a police escort. And then later, Thelma Lou wants to know who she is, and I tell her what I found out about the lady. And Thelma Lou is all mad, because she says I talk to her too much, just to show her the post office. And I said, "No, wait a minute, Thelma Lou." And she said I made a fool out of myself. And I said, "Why? Because I happen to be courteous to a stranger? Strictly in the line of duty? I know your problem, Thelma Lou. Jealousy. I'm still a free man."
And she said, "Yeah, you're a free man, and I'm free too. I'm free as a bird, so I'll just fly away." And she left.
And I told Andy, "Well, if that's the way she wants it, that's just fine with me. I'm finished with mooning, Andy. I've had it." And then Melissa, she's the girl that Thelma Lou is mad about, calls me and invites me to supper with her and her daddy. So I go with her, and I have a good time. And I tell jokes, and I play harmonica. And Andy says, "You better go make up with Thelma Lou." And I say, "Maybe I ain't in any rush to. I like to play the field." So I go back to Melissa's house the second night.
And then her daddy leaves the room after you all have supper and turns out the light, and Melissa starts kissing on you, and you start to get a little bit nervous.
And then somehow she gets the idea that I proposed to her. And then the next day, Aunt Dee sees in the newspaper the engagement announcement. And I say to Andy, "What am I going to do? You got to help me out of this. You're my friend, my buddy." So Andy goes and talks to Melissa. And then the next day, I tell her that the engagement's off. But then her daddy tells Andy that he's going to file a breach of promise suit. And I say, "I didn't promise her anything. I was railroaded, is what I was."
So her daddy comes to Andy and says he'll settle for a cash settlement, since rather than taking the breach of promise suit to trial. But Andy figures it's a scam, so he gets Melissa in the office, and then when you walk in, he starts a wedding ceremony just to call their bluff.
And it turns out they were just bluffing, because Melissa says, "I don't want to marry this squirt." And it turns out it's not her daddy at all, it's her husband. And they've been running a scam. So Andy tells them both to leave town. And then Andy jokes with me about Melissa calling me a squirt. And I say, "Who are you calling squirt?"
So you and Thelma Lou get things patched up. Thank you all for coming to the site. We'll see you next week for episode 6.